I got too many games, I gotta at least try them all. This is my first impression Backlog Deathmarch. For no good reason, I decided to make this week Social Justice Week, and I would be remiss if I did not bring up Depression Quest by developer Zoe Quinn, at the center of the whole social justice thing in video games. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up. Anyway, let's get on with it. Let's give this a shot. This is going to be mostly a text-based thing, so hopefully my mouth doesn't get too dry. Its emotional character is probably mostly indescribable, except as a sort of double bind in which all of the alternatives we use. Wow, this is going to be a lot of chatting, but whatever. David Foster Wallace, let's go. Depression Quest is a game that deals with living with depression in a very literal way. The game is not meant to be a fun or lighthearted experience. If you are currently suffering from the illness and are easily triggered, please be aware that this game uses stark depictions of people in very dark places. If you are suicidal, please stop playing this game and visit Suicide Prevention Hotline to talk to someone. The goal of this game is twofold. Firstly, we want to illustrate as clearly as possible what depression is like, so that it may be better understood by people without depression. Hopefully this can be something to spread awareness and fight against social stigma and misunderstandings that depression sufferers face. Secondly, our hope is that in presenting as real a simulation of depression as possible, other sufferers will come to know that they aren't alone and hopefully derive some measure of comfort in that. More text. It goes without saying that because of the very nature of depression, it is experienced differently by every person who suffers from it. We aren't trying to say that this is the best or most accurate representation, merely that this is an amalgamation of the experiences of the developers and several people close to them. Many of the following encounters deal with issues such as therapy, medication, handling a love life, and reaching out to support networks. In reality, less than half of depression sufferers actually seek treatment for reasons such as lack of money, perceived social failing, or public stigma. These things were included in order to touch upon as broad a range as possible, since all these elements can be very important to sufferers of depression, though they will likely not be the experiences of most sufferers. It is important to recognize that not everyone with depression is so lucky. Many people with the illness don't have a lot of luxuries that we have in this game. We've written it this way so that we can focus specifically on the illness, which becomes more and more difficult to deal with as the person who has it is less and less well off. The game uses audio as part of the play experience. We encourage you to play with your sound on. Thank you for playing. One thing I will note about this game is that it does not play well with my recording software, as in, it doesn't actually register as a game, so I actually have to use the, how should I explain this? See, it's actually like a window, and I have to position it just right inside of this recording window. I can't just say, okay, here's the game, record it. But that's a minor deal that really only affects me. But anyway, let's see how good of a game this is. View controls. What are the controls? You may be using a pointing device, keyboard, or WebKit and compatible gamepad to play. Yeah, I'm not using my controller. Alright, up and down scroll. Shift tab, options, tab, backspace. Okay, this is all pretty. Example option 1. Yeah, whatever. Resume. Begin. It is early on a Monday morning. You are a mid-20s human being. You have a significant other named Alex. Okay, who you are rather fond of, that you have been seeing exclusively for the past few months. The rest of your social circle consists of a variety of friends and acquaintances, some of whom you met at your day job, which is a little boring, but pays the rent. You like to be doing more with your life, as would your parents, but you're still in the process of figuring out what that means and how to go about it. And here I am recording junk for YouTube. Okay. You are also dealing with motivation issues that sometimes make dealing with these things difficult. You feel like this is probably your fault, and on bad days you feel inwardly angry and down on yourself for being lazy. But you're not quite sure how you can break out of it, or how other people deal with these feelings and seem so very functional. Yeah, I am pretty lazy, so that's fair. You spend a lot of nights fixating on things about this, but never seem to do anything about it other than lose sleep. Okay, this like never goes away, this sidebar right here. Okay, audio. So that's kind of weird. I'd think it'd have like a little about box or whatever that popped up, or like a title screen. I'm not sure exactly. Okay, this is kind of loud. Anyway, not sure exactly what system they used to do this, or if they just did straight up Windows form and like .NET or something. But anyway, it's an unreasonably warm Wednesday evening. You spent the past several hours at work, the past week or so. Lots of reading. In the past week or so, you found your job motivation flagging more than usual. You've been at a fog practically all day today, simply going through the motions without realizing even what you've been doing all half the time. And yet, time seemed to be moving at half speed. You're so checked out that when your boss approaches you to tell you that it's dead and you can go home early, it barely registers. Or to tell you that it's dead and you can go home. Okay. I'm guessing it must be some kind of probably working at a restaurant or something where the business is dead. It's been a while since I had that kind of a job, so I had to rewind in my brain a little bit there. As you walk home, the streets hiss from the recent rainfall. You know that your significant other will be in classes until late. Another couple hours at least. You briefly consider using this surreptitious solitude to catch up on that project that you've been working on haphazardly for the past few months. As soon as you think about the work that awaits you at home, you can feel the panic creeping in from the back of your brain, unbidden. All you can think about is how incredibly far behind you are, and the amount of work seems nothing less than insurmountable. By the time you arrive home and change out of your uncomfortable work clothes, the stress is weighing down on you like a heavy, wet wool blanket. Your computer seems to be staring you down from your desk. You want to sit down and work, but the mere thought of trying to work sends your stress levels flying. Excuse me. More than anything, you feel suddenly and absolutely exhausted, in italics, and feel a strong desire to simply hide in bed. Okay, you are depressed. Interaction is exhausting, and you are becoming more and more withdrawn. You are not currently seeing a therapist. You are not currently taking medication for your depression. So, I cannot order food. Oh, I see. I want to work, but I cannot work. Haha. Sit down at your desk and try to make yourself do something. Turn on the TV, telling yourself you just need a quick half hour to unwind for work. This never happens. I've got this problem with YouTube. It's like, I'll just watch one 5-minute video and then 2 hours are gone. Yeah, damn it. Crawl into bed. You're so stressed and overwhelmed you couldn't possibly accomplish anything anyways. Let's at least do probably the best sounding one. Oh no, don't stop at the fridge. You'll end up making a full 5-course dinner or something. You make a stop at your fridge, turn your favorite playlist on, and sit down to start working. You open the last file you're working on, and as soon as your hands touch the keyboard, your mind goes blank. Yep, sounds about right. All of the motivation and ideas you had when you arrived home vanish in a flash. Your brain seizes up, and you find yourself physically incapable of any sort of productive thought. You take a break to loosen up, popping into your email inbox, Twitter, and various other internet-assisted distraction fodder. Frustratingly, this pattern continues throughout the course of the evening, and as soon as you try to focus on work, your brain diverts all of its energy from the task at hand. While you keep flipping back to your work, you find the sheer mental effort involved in keeping your brain focused is overwhelming and tiring. A few Twitter arguments, YouTube videos, and sparse amounts of actual work later, your playlist flips back to track 1, and the ice in your glass has all but melted, diluted the last dregs of the coke you were nursing. You look at the clock and realize that a few hours have passed since you sat down to work, and you've made negligible progress. You can just wake up early tomorrow and catch up, and you think to yourself as you climb into bed, even though you know that never actually happens. You are very depressed. You spend a large amount of time sleeping, hating yourself, and have very little energy and motivation. You are not currently seeing a therapist. Okay, not currently taking medication. I wonder exactly what a win or a lose condition is in this. Because, I mean, it is a game. There's going to be some gamification going on. Looks like it's just kind of like a chat tree, so you can probably just, mash buttons to get through all this and get the whole walls of text. You can probably read it quicker yourself than having me read it everything aloud, but I can get through a couple more pages, I think. It's a mild Friday afternoon. Alex calls you from one of her classes telling you that there's going to be a really awesome birthday party tonight at her apartment that one of her roommates is throwing. You've hung out with this roommate a few times with Alex, and you get along well enough that aren't practically close. You don't have work in the morning and have nothing else in particular to do tonight. You are feeling kind of run down, but you have been fatigued most of the time lately. You mentioned that you are feeling ill because you're not sure how else to explain those feelings to someone else, and say that you aren't sure that you can make it tonight. There's a second of silence over the phone, but you can swear you can hear the sound of your partner's face fall. Okay. She tries to convince you anyway. You haven't seen her this week. She sounds pretty insistent that you come over. She even drops a few suggestively worded hints that you can stay over with them tonight after the party. What do you do? Clearly the correct answer is this. Let's see how it gets messed up. Okay, you agree to go, even though you're not really feeling social. You know it's important to Alex, and you'd really like to see her. Seeing her does make you feel better sometimes, and you hope that this is the case tonight, even if it does mean dealing with all the usual social anxiety. The time to leave rolls around, and you grab your overnight bag. Alex's apartment is a short walk away, and there's already people hanging out on the porch. You feel your chest tighten as you begin to approach the building, and you try to steel your nerves. You quickly find your partner chatting away with the birthday girl, and Alex immediately lightens up when she sees you. I'm so happy you came. I wasn't sure if you were going to make it. A young man taps her on the shoulder, and she turns back to you to apologize and let you know that they have to do something for the party. Alex hands you a beer and plants a kiss on your cheek before going off to deal with whatever came up. As you look around, you don't see anyone else you recognize. Awkwardly stand in the same spot, unsure of what else to do. Put your bag in Alex's room and avoid the crowd in there for a while. Cling to the back wall, sip your beer, and wait for your girlfriend to return. Proceed to drink in earnest, hoping it makes you less uncomfortable. So, let's see here. Standing awkwardly is always a fun thing to do at parties, but drinking uncontrollably is always better. After Alex walks away, you're not quite sure what to do with yourself. Scanning the party for familiar faces yields nothing. And you're not sure where your girlfriend or the birthday girl got off to. You look at the beer in your hand. You know you care a lot less about everything in general when tipsy, but you know you should really avoid getting drunk and possibly emotional. You quickly down the beer, hoping that it will loosen you up a bit. You down a few more as quickly as your stomach will let you handle the carbonation comfortably, and wait for it to take effect. But by the time it does, Alex has already returned and is introducing you to people. However, all that drinking accomplished was making you even more tired and unfocused, and you stick to your girlfriend for the rest of the night, staying fairly quiet in group conversations. Later that night, as the two of you are both tipsy and dozing off, Alex cuddles up to you and lightly slurs, I'm really glad you turned up tonight. To be honest, I really didn't think you'd show. It's really cool you did, really. Woohoo! Points 1. You know she meant it lovingly, but you're not quite sure how you feel about that statement. Okay. spent a large amount of time. Okay, all the same stuff. Yeah, I think this is gonna be the last page, last decision. This is gonna be a long one too. Ugh. It's just a little, yeah, blah 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 blah. Okay. Try to be honest with her anyway. Tell her everything's fine. Okay. You wish you could tell your mother these things? Okay, you're talking to your mother here. Just kind of zipping along. Yeah. Okay, well, I'll skip all that. Anyway, this is a depression quest. A choose your own adventure type thing. It is kind of neat, you know, having the crossed off one right there. That's a neat touch. But yeah, so it's I think it's free to play on Steam. If you want to check it out yourself, here it is. Hope it's everything you expected it to be. So yeah, till next time, later.